do it.
Good afternoon. We got to kick this thing off a little bit different this afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Whiteland, Indiana. This is the K1 Circuit, and this is a unique experience in many a ways. We're back for round 3. It's been a minute since we've been here, and by a minute, I mean approximately 2 months. I have missed this track and I tell you what, I am excited to see how this goes because we're going to race under the lights. It's time for some night racing here on a warm, scalding hot day here. You got about 2.5 minutes on that Perico countdown to green. And to tell you what, it's myself, Brad Dalton, here in the Kart Chaser booth, along with Jackson Lambros. Jackson,
What's up, Brad?
it is so good to have someone here from the West Coast who's going to be here through the evening. West Coast, best coast is what they say. And well, it's nice to have you on the east side for once.
Stoked to be here. I feel like Dave Royce has not been able to get rid of me in this hardworking K1 crew. But no, been an awesome season so far, working alongside the K1 Speed and the K1 Circuit guys. Obviously, getting our West Coast season started with Champions of the Future, working in the pit lane for Caleb, Justin Prince, Nate Dean. Been really cool over there. Obviously, doing the K1 eWorlds out in California, and now getting to do some night racing tonight. Our first one of the Indy Karting Challenge. Excited to be here, Brad.
It's going to be great to be here. And well, let's talk about the classes that we got going and what we're going to do here. So it's 206 Masters that'll kick off our 5-minute qualifying, followed by 206 Cadets, KA Junior, KA Senior Master combined, Micro Mini combined, 206 Senior, 206 Supermaster, 206 Junior. We take that same order. We go through 7 minutes plus 2 laps of heats. We take an hour dinner break. It's so weird to say dinner and not lunch break. Then a little bit of time for the kid carts to be out and about, and then 12 minutes plus 2 laps for the finals. So here's what I'm going to say. It is very, very unique to see this track under the lights. It's the first one of the season. There's a few scheduled through the season, and it's just Saturday night racing. I tell you what, if you are someone like me and you are from a region where dirt track racing is something you know and love, and it's just what you enjoy, you're going to have a great time with this. If it's something that you are not a night owl, and maybe you're also me who likes to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, you're going to be up late and you're going to enjoy this and you'll regret it in the morning, but it's worth it. So buckle it in, enjoy it. Jackson, I got to say, it's only round 3. There's still plenty of things to go here looking through. We had some big moments in round 2 and round 1. We had thousandths of a second separating qualifying runs. What are you expecting here at this 90-degree track?
Well, we talk about it being 90 degrees right now, Brad, but I think that makes for an interesting challenge, right? Because so often in karting, we start at the crack of dawn, right? Where the track is its absolute coolest. But now when we start here at 3 o'clock local, as we advance throughout the day, after that dinner break, get on to finals, the track is going to be cooling down as that Indiana sun sinks into the horizon. So that's going to be a reverse of what a lot of these guys are normally used to, and changing those pressures to adapt to a heating up track, a heating up ambient temperature. Hopefully karts are going to be able to make a little bit more from those Briggs 206 and IAME KA100 power plants. And obviously the track cooling down, we should be expecting those lap times to go down just a little bit more. And you look at the grand scheme of what's going on in the karting world right now, Brad, obviously losing a couple people for Rotax Max and the America's Trophy at MCC this weekend. Of course, just coming off of day 1 being live on Kart Chaser for that. Also a handful of these K1 Whiteland and Indiana native teams making the trek over to Norway Motorsports Park in Indiana for round number 2 of the Route 66 Sprint Series. A little bit of a lighter grid tonight, but for a lot of the guys looking for perfect attendance, it is an opportunity to maybe close that gap on the championship, get an early run, and maybe either gain that lead in the championship or potentially close that gap to those that are absent this weekend that are on top of the leaderboard. But Brad, it's got to start right now with qualifying.
Absolutely. 206 Masters first karts out on track here, and there are 3 karts here on track so far to kick things off in the 206 Master category. We'll get things rolling along here and get these drivers going. This track layout is going to be a fun one too as they head up towards Daytona. I was taking a look at everything before we go, and this is known as layout number 72. Now, what makes this one interesting is that, well, it's ran clockwise. It cuts out a lot of the to and fro here on this side of the circuit that we're used to. There's a lot of times where you see, the hairpins, where we saw some great challenges in round 2, where you can go back through and then try to challenge in the hairpin to then swap a Ruski back. This cuts that out and adds a bit more of this infield section that we don't normally see. And I really do like this layout, but of course, you can't get rid of Daytona, and we don't, which makes it a lot of fun.
Looking at the layout here, Brad, I see a lot of Spring Mountain where we were just a couple weekends ago, and that, yes, there are parts of it that are tight, that are twisty, that are technical, but on the grand scheme of things, this is still a motor track with how much these corners are either one, have plenty of banking, or two, what we're seeing right here with this fast sweeping right-hander, completely flat, but you see that dark patch on track, that Rhino liner, helping to keep these guys glued to the racing surface. But what I'm getting at here is, yeah, there's a lot of turns, but I don't reckon there's a lot of times that these guys are necessarily off throttle or using the left foot to really get on the binders and slow the cart down. Right here, I think we're going to see it as well, that run into the Daytonas, but a handful of what we think would be overtaking opportunities are actually a lot quicker than we necessarily think. That means you get a lot of the not a lot of the disadvantages of a lot of the advantages of what a motor track would be, and not a lot of the disadvantages. That means that it's going to feel like World Cup soccer. I think it's only fitting with FIFA being in town here in the next couple weeks, but overtaking opportunity is going to be an absolute premium, right? If you have a move, if you have a run, you got to use it immediately, and that window to actually make a move on track is going to be very, very short. So for all of our drivers, no matter what the class, no matter what the engine package, it's got to be heads up driving. It's got to be making that move immediately if you got the opportunity, because the next lap or two coming around, you might not have that chance.
It's going to be all important to see how these drivers capitalize today. You already hit on it, but I'm going to just touch on it. A lot of different names to and fro mixed in that may or may not be here. Looking at 206 Masters specifically to kick things off, I mean, every one of the drivers that were here round 1 and 2 are not here right now, and you've got a group here in 206 Masters that is looking to have a good time. You don't have J. Brian Williams here. You don't have Troy Toney. You don't have Evan McCorkadale, who is usually here, usually absolutely running through. They are, off running different events through, and it puts a unique positioning here for King, for Taylor, for Albertson, and also for our fourth sign-up, Jesse Bullock, who's currently not out on track. Hopefully, we'll put in a qualifying lap here soon, and we'll try to find some runs. But it gives them an opportunity to get in as well. And, well, you never know how that's going to play out whenever you are here and there are drivers that are not, because you may be able to take advantage of that and find some championship points, which is always going to be important to see through. And hey, that can make the difference sometimes.
Would it be too cruel for me to say that maybe the night races are past the bedtime for the Masters? No, just joking. But obviously here, you look at, I think as well, when you're at a grid of this size for a handful of our drivers, at the very worst, you're only going to have 3 karts on track to pass. We see this a lot sometimes in TSRS. We saw it a handful of times as well for Tri-C last year. But what's really the advantage if maybe at best you've got a row 1 car if you're really, going through the tires? But I could see a couple of drivers maybe choosing to sit out qualifying and either save the tires, save the motor, save something for this one round of heat racing and main event coming up just a little bit later in the day, because I guess it's going to be the most mechanically demanding part of the day. Track's only going to cool down. And things are only going to get easier both for the man and machine at the wheel and on track this weekend. But that being said, 20 seconds left in qualifying. Steven Taylor works his way up to pole provisionally. 48.831 gets him just a 10th and a half over Chad King. Todd Albertson needs to find a little bit more, 2 seconds off pace, Brad.
That time will come through as well. Again, this is a hot track. It's demanding a lot of all of these drivers here, but I would not be surprised to see as this day goes, everyone really start to get a bit better as the track cools down. I mean, if we take a look here, our finals, 12 minutes plus 2 laps, they're on track at 8:30 p.m. The sun still should be out at 8:30 p.m., if not just starting to go down, and they'll run all the way through 10:50 p.m. is when our final race is slated to end. Checkered flag out here for 206 Masters, and that is going to put Chad King up at the top, stealing it at the end, saving the best for last. A 10th of a second up on Steven Taylor, with Todd Albertson holding P3 right now. Still has a little bit of a lap to come through. Let's see if Albertson can improve, but what about Chad King stealing it at the line there?
I think what interests me as well is Chad and Steven not planning to work with each other there. You know, we always talk about this 206 package and how crucial it is to go bumper to bumper, right? To be able to use the draft in front of you. But for Chad King, no draft, no problem, puts a 10th and a half on Steven Taylor.
That is going to be big, and we'll see how that plays out through the day. Now, let's talk about the next class to come out here as they are waiting to roll. 206 Cadets will line up next. We do the traditional thing that we do here at K1. We go from some of our classes with a lot of experience to the younger guys who get to then go out and follow things up. And what tends to happen when they go out? Well, here's what I'll tell you. You don't tend to know sometimes. These drivers and cadets, they impress me every time they go out because they love to sometimes just do things that I don't expect.
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things, Brad. The cadet chassis itself, I mean, you obviously have some kids who are, you know, it's that first move up from kid kart, and in some cases it's their first time being in a wheel-to-wheel racing environment. But you look at how the cadet is compared to the full-size karts, whether we see it junior, senior, masters, super masters, etc. Smaller karts is always going to mean a more inviting environment to wheel-to-wheel racing, because you need a smaller gap to make a move work on track. And that being said as well, these guys have such a larger restrictor on the engine, lower top speed, but that means the effect of the draft is all the more stronger. And that's what's made, whether you're watching them at a regional level, whether we're watching them in Vegas for Super Nationals, the cadets are always genuinely some of the best racing wheel-to-wheel. And I think we've got a show on our hands here under the lights in Indy.
Absolutely. I love the fact that we're getting to see some drivers race under the lights here, especially at a regional level where traditionally sometimes that's not a thing you would necessarily see. You don't necessarily see these regional grassroots events letting drivers race at night and get to do this under the lights. You got to remember, here at K1 in Whiteland, I mean, this is a rental kart facility as well. So when they are blocking off the schedule for Indy Karting Challenge, they're not allowing rental karts to come out.
Right.
And that, you know, they have to factor that in as well. So as cadets roll here and we get ready to go, 5 minutes of qualifying on the board for 206 cadets. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to really see how these drivers handle this.
It's just a change in what they're normally used to, because, you know, you look at how you normally operate at the national level. We talked about it earlier, but start in the morning and pretty well into the afternoon. So you expect that grip to be taken out of the track, even though you're, you know, constantly laying down that MG rubber in this case. But you look at these night races, it's a flip of the script, right? Because again, you combine that rubber being laid down with hopefully some temp coming out of the track, and that means that these lap times are expected to come down. And that means a lot more opportunities could potentially be going out on track for where you could make a move, where you're able to roll speed. It's going to make things very interesting here. Once we get to the main event coming up, I think you mentioned it. I think we'll be getting started around 8:30 p.m. local time. I'll need Brad to double check on that part for me. But absolutely going to be a good show to get things started. Reed Campton, first one out in the 580. That's James Fox looking on the inside in the 212. Will actually just get ahead there to the left-handed hairpin as we work our way into Switchback City through the long sweep and right-hander. Like that line from Fox going for the late apex, trying to launch out of that final corner in the run to the start-finish line. Will actually be James Fox first to the stripe. 49.106 going to be the time to beat. Kyler Hendrickson Then you got Reed Crampton in the 580. Minutes to go here for 206 Cadet.
First of all, you are correct. 8:30 p.m. local time.
Bang.
Pre-grid is 8:25 p.m. So 206 Masters will be on grid at 8:25, and they are on track at 8:35. Now, here is something I want to talk about. We've got a sign-up that I was not expecting here. We have Blake Martinez signed up. Now, if you're hearing Blake Martinez and you're going, wait, we're in Indy, we're not in Cincy, you are correct. Blake Martinez is a driver that if you are familiar with MCC and you are familiar with the MCC Pro-Am Karting Championship, that is a name that we talk about a lot over there. James Fox is here. Hendrickson is here, Kyler Hendrickson. And then we also have Crampton, who is running through. And Reed Crampton, this is the first time I've seen Reed Crampton here. We do not have Leet Simonelik here. We don't have Christopher Hines in this weekend. Leet Simonelik, by the way, was DQ'd from round 2 from the finals, so picked up no points there. That's a note to bring up. Jackson McNeely I don't see on track either. So the fact that we've got so many different drivers through, and the fact that Blake Martinez, a driver that I'm so used to seeing over in the Pro-Am Championship, is signed up here today, means that, you know, we're shaking things up a bit. Things are going to get interesting, but qualifying right now, you see where the gaps are sitting here. And James Fox, a driver that swept round 1, won the pre-final in round 2, did not win the final in round 2, though, however, here in 206 Cadet. Battled for the win, had a mechanical failure with 3 minutes to go, and, well, you don't need me to say how heartbreaking mechanical failures can be. We'll see if James Fox can find a redemption here into round 3.
Looking good right now, 2.5 seconds up from the field. So the one that's been a long time coming for the kid in the 212 could be coming his way in just a couple of hours. And in 206 Cadet, 2.5 seconds. That is near an eternity over Kyler Hendrickson and Reed Crampton. That kid in the Ignite chassis is very much dialed in right now. That battle for the outside of row number 1 looking to be pretty close as Kyler Hendrickson just barely over Crampton. James Fox finds a little bit more, 47.791. I'll put 3 seconds over both himself and Reed Crampton, who's still very close. It's on track, just about a half second from Kyler Reed Crampton. James Fox, one of the Indy natives, I feel like he doesn't have a weekend where he is out here, but the kid behind the wheel of the top cart is nearly 3 seconds out on top.
Crazy gap there all the way forward, and I'm purposely avoiding one topic right now. I will say that. Usually we have our round of topics that we talk about here at the top of the broadcast through the first few things, other than just the class specifics, right? There is one thing that I am avoiding talking about on purpose. And I'm not even gonna say it. The fact that I'm thinking it is scaring me. But let's just say that we are aware it is hot, it is humid, and there is something about Indiana weather that has been very, very weird over the last few weeks. So I've been told from our producer Ian, who is with us trackside, and our camera crew, that things have been very wild in Indiana in terms of the weather. It's more like you living in the Great Plains and not living in Indiana. You see the flags, it is windy. However, it's just windy, and I'll leave it at that.
I think I follow you on that. We'll just cross our fingers and hope that we don't have any issues here and we're able to stay in racing conditions. But that being said, maybe the vortex effect could potentially be, I think it's Darryl Waltrip who constantly talks about that.
Oh, yeah.
If you have enough carts running in circles. These kids are for sure running quick enough. It might be generating 15 seconds to go here. James Fox, 2.5 seconds. Kyler Hendrickson, Reed Crampton on your screen right now. They've chipped away a pretty good amount, actually, about half a second. But Reed Crampton tucked in behind Kyler there in the 95. This will be the checkered flag out. It'll be James Fox who's going to be to the line first. And your round 1 for the Apex Regional Championship for the Midwest Division went back-to-back. Looks really strong in the Southeast to get started as well. And Atlanta is on pole. Here comes Kyler Hendrickson, Reed Crampton. They're working their way into the fish hook just now. In the run out, they might have found a lot of time here. We'll see if they're able to make any more to close that gap. Won't be the case. Kyler Hendrickson, Reed Crampton, round out your field of 3.
2.7 seconds the gap. James Fox to Kyler Hendrickson. Reed Crampton 3.4 off of James Fox. James Fox putting in a time when it's all said and done of 47.576 around this circuit. And from there, it's going to shuffle through to KA Juniors momentarily, and what'll be interesting about them and where they go through. But before we do that, I got to say, it's been 2 rounds so far. It's been good going. We get ready for KA Juniors to go out. One of the notable misses, too, here that we're looking at is the AMAX karting team. They are Indiana natives here, AMAX Racing. They just signed Maxon Klebe, I have to say, who typically runs in 206. 15-year-old, 2 years of racing experience. So a lot of our AMAX drivers are not here today, which is a unique position to see from them.
Yeah, again, I think some other regional championships running this weekend that will give some of our other guys an opportunity to shine under the lights tonight. But a good mix, obviously. The Top Kart USA guys located out here. New Gen, I think, also making the trip out to some other races. Hopefully we'll see a couple of them still here. But again, a lot of guys, even though they're regional teams, you got a handful of different championships you gotta balance and manage. And that means sometimes you get good opportunities to race at home. You gotta skip out and load up the trailer and go trophy hunting. But KA Junior out on track here, Brad. 100cc air-cooled engines, grown in popularity on the West Coast with Yamaha on the KT100. Has become the international and, well, the regional standard here for 2-stroke racing. And for KA100 Junior, it's our healthiest field for the 2-strokes out on track now.
It's going to be interesting to watch and see how this KA Junior category goes out. In terms of last time out, let's talk about that for a second. Andrew Avalos, no qualifying time last time through, did 1 lap and then retired. You had Jordan LePen, Dragonov here, Wade, who all swapped by thousandths of a second, and the full field in round 2 was separated out by less than a second when they came through. This is a very competitive category here along through. Dragonov ended up getting the win by about 10 seconds. Looking at our entry list here, Dragonov is a name that I have to say I believe we are missing from our signups here in KA Juniors. That is the 24 of Tyler Nash Turner, who is stopped off to the side there in the top cart. What is going on for him?
K1 Circuit officials trying to get a look at it. I think that electric starter not wanting to get going. You can see his hand there on the button trying to get that power plant to turn over. But that top cart sitting on the outside of the short chute with issues right now. We'll have to figure out if that's something that's able to be fixed here before they go wheel-to-wheel racing later on. But one of your favorites, before we even went qualifying, you see him there just on the left of your screen. Already down and out with some issues. That'll mean Jeju Siva Kumar going to get things started. A 43.263. We're already shuffling them, though. 42.8. And the 808 out in front right now. A little bit further behind, we check in Ed Tomorrow and Jordan Lapine. And again, not quite to the scale of 206, but these KA 100 packages, whether you see it here, you see it at the national level, SCUSA Stars Championship, USPKS, you need to stay in the draft just as much. And that won't help it. Lapine going a little bit too deep there into the right-hander. Scrubbing the fronts, that might hurt him later on in this lap.
Now, that section of the track, I can already see fireworks coming in some of our classes right here, because that traditionally, if we were running what's called the pro circuit layout, is a 180-degree hairpin right into a 180-degree hairpin left into a right 90. Notice how it's a sweeping 120 that we're doing right now, or 70 degrees. I don't know what you want to call that angle. It's an angle. And look at these two swapping positions here, pointing forward, pointing by, getting back in. Right here, though, that corner specifically, I'm calling it now. Mark it down. This will be clipped. Fireworks coming at this point of the track.
I mean, on paper, it's the longest part of the racetrack. You get an opportunity to really slingshot out of Daytona, so good runs could absolutely be generated. I'd say it's probably the heaviest braking point we've got in this configuration, so definitely an opportunity to have a send or two on the inside. Going to make things interesting. As of right now, it's the two teammates, Siva Kumar, Jordan LePen. Bumper to bumper. Actually, looks like Kumar able to get a little bit of a gap here as we work our way back into through the bus stop and into the finish up. But again, we talked about it earlier. It's so interesting, right? Because you're hardly ever holding the wheel straight, um, but you're almost always on. And there's only a handful of parts of the racetrack where you're really using the brakes. So many of these corners, you can just get off throttle for just a little bit, and that'll be enough to rotate the kart in. A great example um, through the first kind of in cut. But what that means is where you normally have a drafting opportunity to close that gap, you need to have some force. And even though obviously these are go-karts, right? They don't have front or rear wings or anything that on paper would seem to really generate downforce. But if it's any kind of bodywork on the go-kart, it's pushing it down just a little bit. And especially the front of the go-kart, right? Where the bumper is, where the nacelle is, you need airflow over that to help just push those front just a little bit more, help get that bite on the front of the kart and help it rotate in. When you've got a go-kart right in front of you, yeah, you're getting a draft on the straightaways. Oh, hi, Nash. Nash Turner not having a good time out there. Unfortunately for Tyler, you'll have to regroup and wait for the first heat. Hopefully that top car going to be able to be repaired. As I was saying, that might have been Ed Tamaru, actually. I'll have to double check because I think we only have 3 go-karts out on track. I'm getting at, though, dirty air, genuinely going to be a factor here. And when you're tucked up behind a go-kart, it's going to be just that little bit more difficult to stay bumper to bumper. So that's going to make overtakes just a little bit more challenging. And good setup, really, really important. And getting ready for our 2 races, obviously the 7-minute heat, and I believe the 12-minute final coming up later in the afternoon. Yep, 12 minutes and 2 laps for the main event. Going to be something to look out for. But Checker Flag going to be coming out this time around low, setting the pace 6.667, just 0.071 seconds back for Juju Siva Kumar. Doesn't need much, but he's the one leading as we work our way out to the crucial to remember. Doesn't have any help from the draft in front, will not be able to improve. Doesn't need it. Jordan LePen on pole position. Here comes Blake Martinez. Ed Tamaru. Tyler Nash Turner laid out there by the fish shuck. Will start in last, but crucially, Jordan LePen, Juju Siva Kumar going to be your front row here, Brad.
Great to see the front row here in the K8 Junior qualifying through. We're going to take a step aside here at Kart Tracer. When we come back, let's get our next class on the track. K8 Senior Masters. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in Whiteland, Indiana.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation, Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
Hey guys, another Kart Chaser driver fitness episode with me, Chris G. And today, we're doing some upper back movements. Here we go. Exercise number 1 today we're doing is the reverse grip lat pull down. This Exercise movement is one of my favorites because it works your grip strength, your biceps, and most importantly, works that lat area that also protects those ribs in the seat. Exercise number 2 today, the dumbbell chest supported row. Don't forget, good stretch at the bottom, and bring them right to your hips like that, keeping your back nice and arched, shoulders back. Think about having good posture in the cart. Exercise number 3, the inverted Smith machine rows. Grip strength, back strength, overall amazing workout. Thanks again for joining me on another Kart Chaser Driver Fitness episode with me, Chris G. Race ready.
Combined here, and this is going to be a fun one to see how this qualifying goes. 5 minutes to get things through, and we've got a good sign up here for these two categories of KA Senior and Master. And yes, if you're confused why we're talking about qualifying at 4:51 p.m., it's night racing this weekend, so we are gonna enjoy, and we're gonna let things roll through here. Last time out, we got to talk about last time out with KA Senior and Master, because it was a fun time, I got to say, in round 2 with Van Dyke, Heber, and Ward in KA Senior, where in KA Master, it was the Danny Cutshaw show. Only Danny Cutshaw was here in KA Masters last time, which is always a good time for him. This time, it's going to be the William McLaughlin show in Masters, but William McLaughlin is a driver that I know can scrap with the KA Seniors. So if you keep an eye on that, Braden Heber's here, Dane Van Dyke is here, Fisher Graham, Abram Dean. Let's talk about it, Justin. Tons of good drivers here.
Abraham Dean making the jump out from some of the stuff out at Newcastle Motorsports Park, coming over. Danny Cutshaw trying to roll that momentum, as you mentioned, Brad, from round number 2. But Fisher Graham, obviously, Braden Heber we saw a couple weeks ago for round 1 of Apex. A good mix of guys, whether it's moving up from 206 stuff, coming down from doing some national and regional stuff, and then obviously you got the big guy Danny Cutshaw and William McLaughlin trying to maybe bring a battle to some of these younger guys. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
Getting tangled up early on, 2 of the top carts, and there is I'm not sure if that smack in the helmet was frustration at McLaughlin or himself. But no, they're going to go and help each other. And that might have been William McLaughlin and Danny Cutshaw getting into one another. I'm not entirely sure. It was for sure William. He had the top cart suit on.
Yep.
Who else was involved in that incident? We'll see and get that figured out. I think that was Dane Van Dyke, maybe in the 79 getting tangled. But we talked about maybe some haymakers getting thrown. Brad, I don't think we were expecting it this early in the day.
I did not expect our 2 entries in KA Master to wreck each other, wreck into each other. Let me correct my phrasing there. This early on through, you see the yellow flag out there into the fish hook, the final corner, heading down towards our timing line, our main straight. Yeah, I didn't expect that. That's going to make things interesting here. It's going to be a fun day in this category. KA Senior Master, they always tend to have a good go with each other, and well, it seems like that is exactly what is happening. That highlighter yellow with the blue there. Braden Heber out and about right now, up by a 10.5 over Dean behind as they go through, and these two love to keep each other consistent and honest and up into the mix with each other. I'll be interested to really get an eye on and see what happens here. And I do know that that is McLaughlin off, and I want to tell you that that is Cutshaw off as well here. Again, as we've confirmed it. No, Cutshaw's still running. So that is the 257 to McLaughlin. We'll see if we can't confirm the other cart there here momentarily, because it looks like there's a few carts that are out, not circulating, mixed in some classes.
One of the full-time drivers here at K1 Whiteland, you had the feeling that him getting into the go-kart for quality, a pole position for him was going to be pretty close to a shoo-in, but now he's going to watch his fellow competitor Levi Wilbur coming out late in that number 6 cart, bump up to 3rd overall, 6th on track. It looks like Dane Van Dyke was able to get the 79 going, so So the KA senior pilot back on his horse. He'll try to make a run here with 2.5 minutes to go. I think Dane Van Dyke might have a clear track and might be able to find an opportunity for himself to get a run. We will have to wait and see. 2 minutes on the clock. Braden Heber still setting the pace right now. Levi Wilbur now quickest in his category. 43.413 puts him on pole for the Masters. He doesn't need much to get it overall, though, Brad. Just over a tenth the gap to pole.
And that just over a tenth can very quickly go away if you're not careful here. And this is a KA Master and a KA Senior that are dueling it out for pole right now, as we have the 750 or 257 here, McLaughlin. He is trying to get that cart fired back up and going, it looks like, to get things through and in a less than ideal sector of the track there. Yellow flag out. You see up here in the front, Heber, Wilbur, they are going through. Abram Dean following along as well, trying to find some time. So you've got a mix here of the seniors and masters battling it out, and that's what I really enjoy about combining these two classes, is it tends to make some mixed class battles, which is, well, I'm a big fan of IMSA, so of course I love multi-class fighting. That's where I'm at with it. Dean and Graham here right behind each other going through. Dane Van Dyke up to third. How about that? Wrecking out early through and then able to find a time. William McLaughlin, by the way, is out and has crossed the timing line, so maybe McLaughlin will get at least one lap in here. 52 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think it wasn't an issue of the carts being done, but I think it was more of you had everybody very quickly spreading out, trying to find their own piece of real estate on the track to put a flyer in early. And fortunately, they were able to find that gap and get enough time to get the KAs fired up and get up to full song to put their own laps in. I have to take a look at that last transponder on the bottom of that timing sheet on your on the left-hand side of your screen, because I believe that should be Levi Wilbur, I think, who was later out on the track. But apologies there for the little technical miscommunication. But still, Braden Heber out in front, gave himself a little bit more of insurance now. 43.008 that last time by. Levi Wilbur still on pole. Then it's Dane Van Dyke, Abraham Dean, and Fisher Graham. Danny Cutshaw, the 44.685, and William McLaughlin just about to come back to the stripe this time by. Will try and improve and get himself at least in the heart of this KA Master field. For senior, though, it's looking mighty strong for Braden Heber, just working his way to the stripe. Dan Van Dyke going to improve. Won't be enough to get any further forward. Braden Heber, no addition either. 43.008 going to stay the time to beat. Abraham Dean, Fisher Graham coming to the line this time by Danny Cutshaw as well, trying to find a little bit more. No improvement. All eyes on Cutshaw for the Masters, trying to steal pole from Levi Wilbur. Will work his way just to the line. Will not be able to find it. And a limp to the line, I believe, from William McLaughlin. You just see him there peeking in and out of the screen. Means it'll be Braden Heber and Levi Wilbur on pole position. They'll have their first of two races coming up shortly. And we look on to Mini and Micro coming up for their qualifying in just a couple of moments' time. Want to take a moment, though, to give a special showcase here, as the entire karting world this week was told of the heartbreaking news and the loss of Mike Burris. And for those of you newer to karting, newer to the grassroots stuff particularly, if you have found yourself at a regional race, at a vintage race, or crucially at any speedway, dirt, whether it's asphalt or dirt, any kind of speedway racing, you have seen a Burris Racing sticker on a side pod somewhere. And that's because of the legend Mike Burris, out of Southern California, was known early on, quit his day and night job to pay for his racing to go on and make the now iconic Burco clutches, which are still in rotation in a lot of the vintage stuff. But then moved on to make Burris Racing one of the biggest distributors out of Southern California, out of Huntington Beach, in their 13,000 foot square warehouse. Has sent stuff not just around America, but to over 200 Burris dealers worldwide. And you look at the history of karting as a whole, especially at the turn of the decades, when karting was really not at levels where they would have wanted for entry lists. It was Mike Burris and Burris Racing who was really holding it down in making karting affordable and accessible for families across America. And again, it expanded into everything, whether it was tires, whether it was their own Burco tires, whether it was the different amount of parts they were offering both for vintage and for modern karts. But Mike Burris, one of the icons of this sport, left us at the age of 84, will absolutely be remembered as one of the biggest names in our industry. Green flag out though for Micro and Mini, and it is a small but powerful group with us this evening. The two top karts coming out on track. I would like to believe that Fernando Alonso helmet is James Fox joining us again behind the wheel of the 212, doing double duty just like we saw him a couple of weeks ago at NCMP. But again, the mini or micro version of the KA100 60cc air-cooled engine, doing everything that the big kids can, but in a cadet-ready package. Ages 6 to 12 means a change in the air restrictor, pretty much all you need. But in that introduction to top-level karting, you're able to keep that package for pretty much the first 5 or 6 years of your karting career. Keeps it simple, keeps it technologically very low maintenance, and easy to manage, easy to adjust. It has been the choice of new karters getting into two-stroke racing across America. But James Fox back in the 67, Zen Veach in the 114, Kaysen Hendrickson, the lone micro, I believe, in the 4 minutes 30 seconds on the clock.
It's going to be interesting to really get a watch here and see how these drivers interact with each other between those that one micro going through and our 3 minis that are signed in. Kaysen Hendrickson currently sitting second, 0.2 of a second behind James Fox. James Fox, a driver that has tons of experience here and someone you should know if you follow Kart Chaser. The Instagram tag 2Fox2Furious, by the way. I have to give a shout out to that because that absolutely caught my attention when I pulled things up here. Driving the top car, a history here of one that is really looking to be a future champion. WRP Micro Swift champion in 25, the 206 Cadet champion for WRP in 2025, Newcastle Motorsport Park Kid Kart champion in 24, and the Micro Swift champion in 2025. So you want to talk about a young star in the making? Well, take no further look. And of course, Apex Karting Championship turning heads in Newcastle at the Apex Karting Championship round 1 back not too long ago. Had some contact with Remy Boss, had some big battles through, and confirmed to be on the podium when that was all said and done. So this is a driver who's had some great time. Finished 17th at King of the Castle on just a week ago, May 29th. But then you go back to Sunset Sprints here in the 206s and won that. And then, of course, won round 1 of the Apex Midwest heats in micro, and then turned around and was second in the final. This is a driver that has tons of experience at the front. And right now, the fact that Kaysen Hendrickson is sitting 7 milliseconds behind, I mean, Kaysen Hendrickson, a kart with a lot of pace here in minis as well.
Yeah, but it's all top kart out in front right now. The group out of Brownsburg, Indiana, holding it down right now. But James, you know, you look at that, and you look at that resume for the young career, and it's a lot of regional running, a lot of regional trophies. But you rewind the clock, whether it was King of the Castle, whether it was just a couple weeks prior when you had a lot of those national level guys coming out early to sample the track that would be for the Stars Championship Series. It gave James an opportunity to really turn and burn with some of the guys that are normally in rotation and running the rounds at the national level. And the kid behind the wheel at 67 had no issues doing so. But Kaysen Hendrickson in P2, still 007 the gap right now on track. We are in Indiana, and that last name is Veach. I need to, like you got to ask if there's a relation to Zach Veach. If anyone can give us an answer there for the 114. Would be greatly appreciated. But always cool to see some racing names show up here at K1. 90 seconds on the clock. James Fox comes to the line. Lap number 5 will not improve. 45.067. Still going to be that target. You got to remember, yeah, we're going to cool down the track later, but the sun is still high in the sky. I was going to talk about how maybe the pace was going to drop throughout the run. not the case for Kaysen Hendrickson. 44.908 gives himself a comfortable gap now and gets himself on pole provisionally.
And getting up on provisional pole, that is going to make a big difference here. Let's see if James Fox can flip the script here in the final 60 seconds. By the way, we talked about weather a little bit earlier. Taking a look at the weather forecast, every time I refresh it, it changes. But as of right now, we are looking for some great racing. However, overnight, if you are here at the circuit, make sure you take care of yourself through it. We are looking at some scattered thunderstorms in places with localized damaging wind gusts. So just make sure if you are here on circuit at the facility, make sure that you take care of yourself and those around you. If we have any sort of weather at the moment that I am saying this, which I am going to timestamp at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It looks like if we had anything affect us, it would be through in KA Junior and KA Senior Masters. That would be where we would see something if there was something. I'm not saying there's going to be. I'm telling you right now, a checkered flag is flying, and James Fox cannot improve and is going to still be sitting in second. Zen Veach will hold in third. Kaysen Hendrickson still waiting to come across the line, comes across and doesn't go any faster, so it is a 10th and a half, the gap between Hendrickson and James Fox.
Good stuff, and you get the feeling with how close that gap was, it's going to stay close between Hendrickson and Fox, a duel we have seen all across the Midwest, and another round set to get going tonight. Step aside for just a moment. When we return, some of our biggest groups on track, set to qualify 206 Senior, 206 Supermasters, and 206 Junior when we return.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with two classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
Another Kart Chaser Driver Fitness episode with me, Chris G. Today, I'm going to show you how to protect those ribs in the seat. We're doing core. Exercise number 1 is the bench leg raise. Controlled all the way down, full range of motion. Make sure you pick up that tailbone off.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to Whiteland, Indiana, where we are back for the Indy Karting Challenge Round 3. And I tell you what, I've missed this championship here. It has been since April 1st. It wasn't an April Fool's either. And, oh, we've already had a moment here pulling out. What was that? That is Brayton Heber, the number 8, losing a tire on exit. We're not even a lap through.
Park there. So that is a front left fully off of the corner. You saw it roll across the hairpin. I think Heber walked across the track to go and find it. But wow, I mean, we were about to talk about some of your favorites this evening in our biggest grid tonight, and Heber, who is going to be article number 1 on that list, doesn't even make it to turn 1, and what is, I can only describe as a freak accident, will have to start from the back of the grid for heat number 1. Colton Kelly making the step down from doing some street racing stuff. I know he'll be getting ready for Quincy Grand Prix coming up in this 206 package. Levi Wilbur, Zach Allen, and Andrew Goldman. Then it's Gavin Haltom in the 5. Reed Elsinger in the 11. Sure, Graham doing double duty. We just saw him earlier on in the KA. He jumps behind the wheel of the 26. Then it's the pair of kings. Colton in the 10. Chad in the 81. Chad also doing the K1 activities, KA activities as well. And then it's Randy Hinshaw in the 11, making up your field of what should be 12. But I don't think we're going to see Brayden Heber rolling anytime.
let's say it's 12 minus 1. We'll make it 11 here.
Good
running
deal.
through, because I don't know what to say to that. I had everything ready to roll, and I have not seen that in ever. Never have I ever. I will say that. I will say what I see right now is we have Blake Deaster up onto the top of the timing tables running through here. Colton Kelly, who was sitting up at the front, is currently sitting fourth in that number 900, running for New Gen Motorsport, one of our local Whiteland, Indiana teams who recently spent some time in Italy back in April, spending some time at the factory of the Haas team that makes their karts, the chassis they run, and getting to see really what sets things through for them here. So tons of great experience that comes through for them along. And well, this is going to be an interesting one to watch and just see how things mix up, because Kelly already up to second. We're 2 minutes left to go. There's plenty of time for time to improve, but I mean, this is a competitive field. Look at this. We've got a majority of the field separated by a second and a half.
Good stuff as you know, for New Gen Motorsports. I mean, Danny Dragon was strong a couple weeks ago for Apex, and I mean, we saw them not only for the lifter for the Midwest division, but they got to travel out to the East Coast as well. Saw them for a handful of the Southeast divisions for Apex. But Blake Deaster, Colton Kelly setting it down early right now could make it a front row lockout for the Whiteland, Indiana-based crew. Then the Top Kart guys start to roll in as well. You got the number 5 of Gatton Halthorne, Randy Hinshaw as well. So again, a very Hoosier front row could be set out for round number 3. But right now looking like the 31 Zach Allen making it easy for us right now. All the new gens making it easy for us, stepping away from the normal black and white, going for the whiteouts tonight. Whiteout graphics, the lights. There at the number 2, Andrew Goldman looking to work his way up a little bit from P. Second round of laps coming in. Colton Kelly setting the pace with a 47.342. Blake Deaster responding instantly. Will put another 2/10 on. Levi Wilbur able to leapfrog Zen. One of your guys who was provisionally on pole first lap out drops all the way down to P4. Now it's Blake Deaster though in the hot seat. 47.198 the time to beat.
Amazing to see these times continuing to drop here through 40 seconds left to go. Blake Deaster doing a great job here of holding position, and that is going to be a very, very important thing to do. Whether he can do it, though, is another conversation entirely. Let's watch here into the final seconds what can be done as we go around. Colton Kelly will improve up to second here with 15 seconds to go. Deaster comes across, is a 10th off of his best time here. Levi Wilbur holding third, so a lot of our karts are coming around to start a final lap and try to find some momentum here. 3 seconds left on the clock. Coming through, you've got some nose to tail action going on, bit of slipstream here. That can make a big difference here in 206 Senior. Checkered flag is out, about half a lap for these drivers to improve.
Yep, and this could be a way to do it. It's a little bit of a push right now from 2 of the teammates heading into the hairpin. Talked about it earlier, but you need to make the most of the draft. You need to maybe get a little bit of help from the guy in front of you to push and shove and a more straight line. But here we go. Run to the checkered flag. Levi Wilbur improves up to P2. No one able to get to Blake Deaster just yet. Could that change? Not enough. Blake Deaster, as it stands, on pole.
Deaster up on pole here, as it looks like the timing is trying to get us to go a bit faster than I want to. I want to enjoy the results here. So I tell you what, let's talk about them really quick here in 206 Senior as we go. It's a great go for everyone here. They have a great competitive fight on their way along. Deaster up to the top. Wilbur, Kelly, King, Allen. Great fights from all of them. We'll reset the results here momentarily. We'll let you know who's going to be where for the grid along as they get ready to go. 2 more classes to go, by the way, here in free coverage on Kart Chaser. If you are not a Kart Chaser Premium member, well, first off, what are you doing? Second off, become a Kart Chaser Premium member on your Android phone or on your PC. If you do it on Apple, you get a $3 Apple tax, which we don't want you to have to pay extra for the coverage here. $9.99 a month. Sign up on PC, and you can enjoy all of the action here of our night racing here in Whiteland, Indiana, live. And I tell you, I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it one more time. If we're already having a grand old time in qualifying and having some crazy moments, well, Jackson, what can I say other than night racing is amazing?
We haven't even gone night racing yet, and I feel like we've gotten a good dosage of chaos, so definitely stay tuned. Phone a Friend should be a good show. I will add on top of that, though, for the Kart Chaser stuff, for the KC Premium stuff, make sure you're doing that either on a browser or on a PC. Do not do it on the YouTube app for whatever reason. Apple likes to add on a $2 surcharge on top of that, so that'll make it $12.99 a month, and we're not getting any of that, and that's just going straight to Apple. So if you're new, if you're looking to become a KC Premium member, make sure you're doing that off of an Apple TV, not on an Apple TV, not on an iPhone. If it's any more than $10.99, it's not us, but doing everything we can to look out for you guys. Get ready to go here, though, for the crazy old men, as we like to call them, Briggs 206 Supermasters, set to come out on track. And again, giving the opportunity for some of the part-time guys who aren't able to put in the time, the same amount of time as the senior drivers, to still be competitive and still go out and have a good time and go wheel to wheel. And normally I say that as a joke for the crazy old men part, but I remember K1's very own Dave Royce in the middle of February showed me footage of 3 of these guys out on track, snow still on the grass, and these guys ripping around where it felt like everyone looked like Kenny from South Park with how many layers they had on. But these guys, when they have an opportunity, they are going to take it. They're going to go out on track.
These drivers are the ones that would drive through an absolute thunderstorm and then still complain about someone missing a braking point. That is what I view on Supermasters. They are the drivers that are willing to push themselves in ways that, well, frankly, nowadays, we call it unsafe and a little bit just not right, and they call it just good racing. So if you ever want to really learn racecraft, find you a Supermaster driver and become their best friend. Become their adopted kid, become their whatever you want to call it. They will teach you ways to race that you are going to think are insane. But doggone do they work, as they are now released out to the track and we get ready to roll.
I don't know who. I feel like it might have been Troy Tony, but one of these guys made this brilliant quote-unquote, and it was basically these, like, cardboard flaps that go on the outside of the nacelle for when you're driving in the cold, so your hands don't freeze. Even with the gloves on, when you're going, what, 40, 50 miles an hour, your hands can get really cold. So they made these, like, windscreens almost for your hands, and it's a collar that almost goes around near the top of the nacelle, so when you're running in the cold months of the year, gives you an opportunity to still get track time without layering up on the suit. But that is the level of innovation you've got when you love the craft, when you love the sport, and when you get track time, you will take every opportunity you can to get out and get some laps in. We set the clock for 5 minutes. We're ready to go qualifying for 206 Supermasters. You got Tom Stevens in the 8, brother Joseph in the 5-0, Mark Clerk in the 4, and it's double duty still for William McLaughlin, who jumps out of the other top cart, comes back out in the numero uno for your 4-cart field tonight. Should be absolutely a good show coming up. Again, 7 minutes plus 2 laps for the heat, 12 minutes and 2 for the main event. First green flag laps coming up, 50.027 for Joseph Stevens, puts him quickest first time by. Tom Stevens in second, 3.89 in the gap.
Looking at the points here, William McLaughlin has won every round and swept it through. Tom Stevens finished third in round 2's final. Joseph Stevens finished second in round two's final here. And then this will be the first time on circuit in this championship for Mark Cirque. So for these 4 karts, it'll be interesting to watch. We'll see who can take on McLaughlin, because again, if you're on the top of the championship standings after 2 rounds, well, the target's on your back here for that number 1 kart, I would say. And he is someone who is quick. In round 2, had a great time through. We had Joseph Stevens out early in the heat with a mechanical failure that we later found out was the throttle cable. And then William McLaughlin and Tom Stevens, they fought really well in round 1. Tom Stevens early on in the main event in round 1 was able to get a pass over McLaughlin, trying to hold on, but then McLaughlin was able to get a great pass about halfway through the final and then just absolutely took off. So it's going to be a case of keeping up with that number 1 plated kart, and it looks like a little bit of reaching over and adjusting there going on from the top kart. Not sure what that might be there for that number 56 of McLaughlin.
I think that was maybe the air filter and just making sure there wasn't the choke on it still. But again, that 206 power plant is getting all the airflow needed, as it felt like he might have been lacking a little bit on the straightaways. Definitely not this time by 48.603. That last time by puts him on pole position provisionally by nearly a second over Joseph and Tom Stevens. Still a very close package right now, though. Not only can we see it on track right now, you see all 3 of your podium right now provisionally, pretty much bumper to bumper as we work our way out of Daytona. But only 1.3 seconds right now across all 4 of these drivers means it is very close right now. McLaughlin may be going down low. He does want to make that move on Joseph Stevens, so we'll slot in and become the meat of this sandwich. Oh, hurt his lap time, but could get him set up right now. He wants clean air to that nose. He wants all of the cornering abilities of that top kart. He might try to actually lead this pack. We'll have to see. 2 minutes on the clock. McLaughlin still quickest, 1 second between himself and Joseph Stevens.
And that 1 second between them, it's a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time either, with about a minute 40 left in qualifying. Still plenty of opportunity to close that time down here. As you see, tucking the helmet here, going for the slipstream, trying to find a bit of extra momentum where it can be found. This is where this section of the track is going to set things up. You're going to see a lot of drivers go for some crazy moments there, and you already see it in qualifying, the weaving back and forth, the pick of different lines, and just what's going to work best for you and how you like to drive. That is going to be what makes the difference for those drivers going through. Still trying to find some additional time. Drop off already 0.7 of a second for William McLaughlin, down to a 49.273 last time. 60 seconds left to come across the line here. And for Joseph Stevens and Tom Stevens, they're separated by less than 0.06 of a second. That is a good separation for them, and it'll be hard fought for anyone right now to find a second to go up on William McLaughlin, especially because everyone's times are still dropping down here at the end of the day.
Yep, but just as we say that, you can see obviously the track darken a little bit. Looks like some cloud cover could help guys a little bit of a cooler track. That could help with conditions. Definitely bring the grip levels up just a smidge. This will be their last opportunity, though. 20 seconds on the clock. Tom Stevens able to leapfrog Joe with 49.230. That's still 0.7 and change separating him from pole position. I'm not sure if William McLaughlin is going to be able to find any more time on track. Still plenty of sunlight in this part of the course. And on top of that, no draft helping him in front. That's helping Tom just a little bit further back, close that gap. Coming out of Daytona, we'll see though, because he still looks to maybe find a way to gap him just a little bit here. Here we go though, coming out of the final corner on the run to the stripes. 48.503, the time to beat. Tom Stevens, Joseph Stevens going for the front row. McLaughlin, no improvement, but neither the case for Tom Stevens and Joseph Stevens. Willie McLaughlin on pole for Supermasters.
Half a second coming down there. That's a good time to find through. And between Tom and Joseph, you can see the separation there between them, not a lot. So we'll see if they work together. Of course, when you share last names, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't. to get after William McLaughlin. It'll be interesting to watch and see how that plays along for them as they go through. One class left to go here on the coverage here at Kart Chaser before we jump behind the paywall. And, well, we've saved the wildest for last. Usually you say you save the best for last. I say we save the craziest for last. And that is exactly what I'm going to say here, because this is 206 Junior getting ready to roll here. They're getting ready to open up the gates. And when they do open those gates, well, 206 Junior, you get the perfect blend of racecraft and just a bit of arrogance and a bit of I'm the best driver and nobody can tell me otherwise. And when you mix all of that together in a package that is very willing to race, Jackson, I got to say it produces fireworks.
I think this is a track as well that really manages to bring out the best in both of these packages. I think it's because of the Daytona does a really good job of setting up a corner, but you're able to roll so much speed through here. There's only so many times you're really off throttle or on the brake. But for the lower power categories, especially these 206s, it really manages to bring out some really good wheel-to-wheel racing. We see it obviously week in, week out. We saw it last year when the Route 66 Sprint Series came to town. But no matter where you see it, there's always good wheel-to-wheel racing. And the track is going to be the coolest it has been all year long tonight. I think that's going to just add to that factor. So a heck of a show coming your way later tonight. First, we got to set the stage. Out on track now for 206 Senior. Again, one of our biggest fields this evening. It was I think 23 on the pre-entry, and then probably a handful more coming up for the handful more walk-ups to bolster that number further. But you've got a handful of really big names working their way back here for round number 3, despite a lot of these guys traveling. Randy Hershaw in the 1, Braden Heber, who we saw earlier on with a little bit of drama, but the juniors as well here. 10 carts deep. We're ready to set the field.
That we are. Now let's keep an eye on how this goes through. Looking at warm-ups earlier, Maxon Klebe, who just signed for local team Amax Racing, ran a 47.8 flat, 47.8000. Keep that time in mind. He was the only kart to get into the 47s. So I'm interested to see how this plays along for the teams as they go through. Right now in the points lead is Tyler Nash Turner, who hasn't won, I have to say, here in 206 Junior. That's the interesting part. Has not won in 206 Junior. Parker Dunn in second place, won the heat in round 1, and that is where things get kind of interesting in the points categories for 206 Junior. Driver who didn't put in a single lap in warm-up, Jiju Sivakumar. That's a name to be familiar with here if you watch a lot of the IKC runs, who is now up into the front. Another one of our local New Gen Motorsports drivers, of course, New Gen based here in Whiteland. We talked about them a few qualifying sessions ago, and well, no surprise to see Whiteland's best getting up near the top here. But Jiju Sivakumar looking to take his kart forward, currently up on top by a quarter of a second.
You can see that kind of shuffle when they were going out on track and everyone trying to find someone with similar colors. The New Gens linking up, 2 of the top karts trying to find a dance partner. But it looks like Sivakumar able to get a little bit of a break. Full pace laps coming in right now. Nolan Wade unlocking it. 48.709, just a hair over Jiju in the 808. Then it's Tyler Turner. This kart's working the 842 with a 49.012. All the way up to P5 here, Brad, within half a second of each other. This is one of the closest grids that we have seen so far tonight, and we're only halfway home. Ooh, a little bit of a look to the inside there. I think that was Sivakumar maybe looking to make a move on Nolan Wade there on track. That belief that maybe he had a little bit more pace in that part of the racetrack, but thinks smarter of it, decides to back off, at least for now.
Already see some hand signals going out here in 206 Junior. They're already playing the game. And when 206 Junior is out of the gate playing the game, is time shuffle again. Throw Sivakumar back to the top. Lance Gerald up into second place here out of our 10 entries. Blake Bachma in third here. Maxon Klebe, Tyler Nash Turner in fifth. I mean, when you already have drivers that are managing to play the strategy in the middle of qualifying, it's going to make a difference. Out of Daytona, look at this. We've got passes going on here right up the inside, and then the tap to the helmet saying, I'm getting back in line. Just stick behind me here. We can find some faster times. You're not my teammate, but I tell you what, we'll work together anyways. Interesting to see how the strategy is going to mix up.
Yeah, he's got a good guy behind him, though. Blake Bacoma just went third quickest, 48.531. So a healthy motor and maybe some good straight line. That will help Tyler Nash Turner get into P3, but Nolan Wade, another flyer, 48.004. That puts him half a tenth over Jiju Sivakumar right now. And pretty much first all the way back to fifth right now in your picture. Tyler Nash Turner first on track. Then it's Lance Jared. All the way at the back right now is the fastest guy, Nolan Wade. Popping out of line, we'll take a look to the inside. He's trying to go with, I believe, Tyler. Down into the hairpin. Oh, nearly some overlap there at the apex of the hairpin. Again, think smarter of it. Backs out. These guys, I think, are just going to get enough time. Oh, man.
Woo-hoo.
Lance Jared making that move on Tyler Nash Turner. Coming out of the final right-handed hairpin. But they are just going to get one more lap here. Maybe getting a really good lap as well. Lance Gerald working back into it as well. These gaps have tightened up big time, Brandon. Pretty much your whole field within at the very most half a second.
Times have closed in a lot here, and I gotta say, just taking a look at things, I'm gonna just say it's qualifying. Remember, this just sets our grid for our 7-minute heats coming up after this. This doesn't spell it all out, but doggone if it's not fun and give us a taste of what we're looking at. You've got the whole top 6 right here, nose to tail, coming through, and a little bit of shuffling into the final corner already starting for some passes. And I tell you what, I wasn't expecting to see that from the 906, but why don't we do it here coming to the run here in qualifying? Siva Kumar will go across the line first. Nolan Wade, Lance Gerald will hold third place here, and then from there, Maxon Klebe, Tyler Nash Turner, Blake Bachma, Eli Marsh, Owen Boca, Henry Tyler, Maximus Seward. Now, Henry Tyler and Maximus Seward, they were not with drafting friends, which is why their time seems so far off the pace. But I tell you what a great run here in the 206 junior qualifying as they get ready to roll into the heat. 7 minutes plus 2 laps will be coming up momentarily as they'll come around. And it looks like actually they had one more lap here than we thought.
We'll have to wait and see a couple more trying to get to the stripe here. But Jiju Sivakumar pulled that one out of absolutely nowhere. A 47.761, had himself 0.183 over Nolan Wade in the remainder of the field. And the 808 is firing on all cylinders to get himself on pole position for the main event. That'll be it. Nolan Wade, Jiju Sivakumar on the front row for 206 Junior. We'll step aside for about 15 minutes, but it's time to get over the paywall and go wheel-to-wheel racing. Hope you'll join us here in just a couple moments' time. He's Brad Dalton. I'm Jackson Lambros. We'll see you in just a little bit here for round number 3 of the Indy Karting Challenge.
You know, I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my god.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Hi, I'm Jackson with Alpha Race Hub. Alpha is an all-in-one motorsports software solution that can solve all the software problems you need for your track, facility, or series. Alpha can cover all your software bases, from online registration, digital e-waivers, a proprietary timing and scoring software, incident management, automated points tabulation, tire and barcode scanning. We even have our own mobile timing app and rental kart activity management software. If you're looking to consolidate your motorsports software solutions, reach out to us at alphatiming.co.uk.
Hey, what's up, Caleb? What's up, Brandon? You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I went to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Karting isn't just speed. It's control, precision, freedom. At Atlanta Motorsport Park, Kart Freedom isn't just a team. It's where drivers are made.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Hey guys, I'm Chris G. I'm Kart Chaser's driver fitness coach, and today I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to strengthen your shoulders for more endurance and better stability in the kart. Here we go. Okay, so exercise number 1 is the front rope pull-through cable raises. Okay, now this is the upright cable row. What you are doing here is you're picking a straight bar, as you see, and we're working the side areas of our shoulders, the medial. Exercise number 3, the dumbbell shrugs. As you guys can tell, I like to pause at the top before releasing. It's great for your strength, for that wheel stability. It's great for those shoulders and that upper back area. Chris G Coaching, race-ready training that carries into real life. That's what we do here. See you on the next one.